Hello and welcome once again to another episode of Crisis of Infinite Podcast. And today we will be discussing the recap of the Monsterverse, which is the American movies of all four Godzilla and Kong movies. Once again, I am your host Mark Palmer with today's guest.
Hello, Nathaniel, once again. And it's about time we finally got to doing this podcast after the teaser from one of the previous ones.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I already discussed that in a past podcast about as to why, but I'm not going to get into detail with that. So, Right now we are doing a recap of the four movies that came out, and let's start off with the first movie that came out was back in 2014 called simply Godzilla or Godzilla 2014.
This was the first Godzilla movie in 10 years to be put out into the public, and America's second attempt. Would you like to briefly explain how America's first attempt went?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, for those who are the general audiences out there, we did have one Godzilla movie that was pretty much in development hell at the time, because it was originally supposed to come out like in 94, and like there was one supposed to come out in the 80s, and it was America's first attempt of Godzilla. And what happened was the train wreck we got in 98. But looking back on that, it's like popcorn entertainment.
It's a decent monster movie. But it's not a Godzilla movie.
Exactly.
If you want to learn more, I'm pretty sure you could like look up all the bad stuff that happened in the development online. But
yeah, not only that, but like some YouTube reviewers reviewed it and like did like little jokes here and there and memes with it, like Nostalgia Critic, The Angry Video Game Nerd, and so on and so forth.
Matt McMuscles actually has a very good episode
called What Happened. Yeah,
has a very good episode. Take a look at that one. It's entertaining.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. With that movie, it's surprisingly, that's how I got into Godzilla in the first place. And then later on, I started watching like the old Showa era movies, and then the Heisei and the Millennium and so on and so forth. So without that, I probably wouldn't even have been a kaiju fan, surprisingly, because when I first saw it as a kid, the 98 Godzilla, I was like, oh wow, this movie's like Jurassic Park. But as I got older, wow, this is like Jurassic Park? What a ripoff.
Yeah. So 2014.
Oh, I mean, looking back at this movie, I mean, when I first heard about another Godzilla movie, I was hyped. I mean, I thought it would be like the remake of King Kong, like the Peter Jackson movie, like set in the same time period of the 50s, post-war Japan. But I was wrong. But like when I did see the trailer, though, oh man, I was expecting it to be just like the 54 movie, if not darker.
Oh, man. I remember seeing the San Diego Comic-Con trailer for that one. And I didn't know what I was looking at first until I saw the silhouette dust, because you did hear Godzilla's roar in that trailer, but you didn't know what it was at first. And then you see his silhouette from the dust and the sun, and then you see the title of Godzilla, and I'm like, yeah! And then Warner Brothers had to take the trailer down because they didn't want... I don't know why.
Yeah,
but
surprisingly, Toho didn't take it down, and we all know how Toho is. Well, for you true believers out there.
Yeah. So real quick for the recap, what did you think of the 2014 movie?
Well, the 2014 movie did have its moments, but it felt like the weakest of the Monsterverse. I mean, I know people complain that, it's in the dark and you can't really see anything, but I saw it in IMAX when it first came out, and I saw it clear as day.
They were probably saying they couldn't see anything because they were watching it from the TV.
But I had a pretty good time in IMAX, and like when Godzilla showed up and roared, the seats rumbled. Oh man, it felt like I was there.
Yeah.
That was great.
I actually think out of the movies, 2014 had the best tone.
Really?
Kind of. It had one of the best tone settings for the movie. And it remained consistent all throughout. I felt personally. Like there was little room for humor. They were treating the Godzilla and the other monsters portrayed in this movie as legitimate threats.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It was like they actually did take the time to actually try and imagine how would people react if these gigantic creatures were real and were like invulnerable to our weaponry.
That's true. Not only that, but Godzilla wasn't the threat in the movie. Like, the trailers made it look like he was a threat. Like, we already know he was going to find another monster, and I thought he was going to make short work of that monster, and then like he'd be the main threat. But he's actually the hero, but not in a goofy Showa era way, more like in the Heisei Gamera way.
Yeah. In fact, if you take a look at 2014, Godzilla 2014, and compare it to 1995's Gamera Guardian of the Universe, it's the same darn movie.
Yep.
Like beat for beat.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I know that people thought it was going to be a great movie because they know Bryan Cranston was in it, because they know how much of a good actor he was in Breaking Bad, but unfortunately, his character died.
Yep. Which sucks because he was the most compelling character in that film, but...
Besides Serizawa.
Yeah, besides Serizawa.
But we'll get to Serizawa later.
It was like Bryan Cranston first, Serizawa second in that movie.
Yeah.
And then after a couple more years pass, we get...
Kong Skull Island. And we did a podcast about that, but we're going to do a little quick recap on that. I felt like it was a big improvement of 2014, and I felt like the human characters were like the strong point in that movie, besides Kong and the other monsters themselves.
Yeah, I can see why a lot of people think that Kong is the superior film to the Godzilla 2014 film. Excuse me. You didn't really get that much out of the human characters outside of Serizawa and Bryan Cranston's character in the 2014 film, but I don't know. There are things I like about the other human characters in that film, but there's something about Kong that helped make that fit with the tone with what they were going for in Skull Island a lot better than the tone that they were going for in Godzilla.
Exactly, because Godzilla felt like night, whereas Kong felt like day.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Not only that, but the human characters were really good. Like, you had Samuel Jackson, you had, what's his name?
And technically, this was a prequel sequel.
Yeah. They had, what's his name? John C. Reilly. You had Tom Hiddleston, you had Brie Larson, and you also had John Goodman, but John Goodman was the Bryan Cranston of that movie because he died too.
Yeah. You can't mention Brie Larson and expect us to not like internally implode on ourselves, considering what she went on to do later on.
Yeah.
Less said about that, the better.
Yep. Because Samuel Jackson in that movie was like Captain Ahab from Moby Dick.
Yeah.
He was just hell-bent on wanting to kill King Kong for some reason.
Oh, that's right. We didn't talk about the new... Oh, wait. We'll get to those ones later. But, yeah, what did you think of Skull Island in that movie?
Oh, like the actual setting of Skull Island?
Yes, because traditionally Skull Island in the King Kong films is just an island inhabited with dinosaurs.
Yeah, I mean, well, we did have a little Easter egg of a dinosaur. Like, you had a Triceratops skull, but they felt like, if we did dinosaurs, it'd be too generic. So they decided to go with more crazy, wild characters monsters like the skull crawlers, the giant octopus, and the bison.
And some of the creatures that inhabit this version of Skull Island are just giant animals.
Yeah.
But they did take liberties of designing and exaggerating certain features of these modern day animals. Like the bison you mentioned, it had even bigger horns.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the mother long legs.
Yeah, and then like that log beetle. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, I forgot the name of that.
There was supposed to be another creature in that movie that got scrapped. It was a tiger with the deer
tiger.
antlers.
You could still see that tiger in the comics.
Yeah, I think it's in the concept art.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that Kong's backstory is that these monsters called the Skull Crawlers killed his family, and he's the last of his species, so he's basically Batman.
He's a superhero.
Yeah. Whereas Godzilla is basically Superman or Hulk, if with the whole radiation origin.
I don't know if I would categorize Godzilla as a superhero.
An anti-hero?
Not even an anti-hero. He's more of a primal force of nature.
Yeah. He does what needs to be done.
Yeah.
He's almost like Galactus in a way, but not as, like, well, maybe as menacing, but...
Yeah, it depends on me. It depends on what the film is trying to portray him as. Sometimes he's portrayed as a hero. Sometimes he's just portrayed as a neutral force. Mm-hmm. And other times he's just straight up evil.
Yep. And for the next film, we got King of the Monsters. Not to be confused with the original 54 Americanized version of Gojira.
Seriously, what is with these name changes?
Yeah, I know. But this is the sequel to 2014. In this movie, the world has to deal with Godzilla living as a part of their humanity, but they figure out that there's more Titans out there. And yes, the creatures are called Titans. They are not called kaiju.
Originally, back in Godzilla 2014, they tried coming up with this fancy term, massive unidentified terrestrial organism,
which stands for MUTO.
But they ended up just ditching that and settled for something more mythological, hence the Titans.
Yeah.
And it actually fits very, very well
because
with the mythology they're establishing.
Because the MUTO happens to be a name of an actual creature that Godzilla does fight in 2014. But yeah, the Titan name is a much better choice.
Yeah, and it helps get around the whole idea of kaiju for an American audience.
Yeah, not only that, but this movie did fit some mistakes from 2014. Like there were some fights in the dark and in the rain, but it did have some little bit of cringy humor, like that one human character that said like he couldn't pronounce King Ghidorah's name right and called him gonorrhea for some reason.
Yeah, it had its ups and downs, but I felt like King of the Monsters helped blend in the different tones of both 2014 and Skull Island in a more cohesive way.
Yeah, and in this movie, there's 3 other Titans. There's Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah.
Legacy Toho monsters.
Yep, that's true. And
we both got hyped as soon as we saw them appear.
Yep, we sure did.
We got hyped when Rodan appeared. We got chills when King Ghidorah appeared, and I think we were on the bridge of tears when Mothra hatched.
Yeah, I mean, I know that my eyes were starting to swell up during the trailer when Mothra spread her wings.
Yeah.
To what's that one song? By Debussy, Claire de Lune.
Claire de Lune.
Yeah. It fits so perfect.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, Claire de Lune, whether it's piano or trailer music, is a beautiful set piece.
Yeah, because it really captures the essence of like the beauty of these creatures.
The beauty, the gravitas, and all that.
Yeah,
and all that.
And apparently the final movie, well, I wouldn't say the final movie, but like more like the final movie of this phase, supposedly, if they're going the MCU route with phases, was Godzilla v. Kong.
Godzilla versus Kong. This one is a hard movie. I love the movie.
Yeah.
But this one is hard for me to put into words about my feelings for it, because it is a mixed bag for me.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, it did fits a lot of other issues. Like there's actual fights during the day.
Yes, there are actual fights during the day, but it felt like they doubled back on the human development.
Yeah.
Cause like, don't get me. Oh well, we might as well talk about the human characters, right? Or do we?
No, you can go ahead.
Because, like, when it came to the human characters, compared to the previous 3 films we had, let's not mince words. When it comes to these kaiju movies, the human characters are a vehicle for the audience to get involved and participate in the world that that the studio's trying to craft for you to get invested in so that you could see and witness these monsters do whatever it is they do.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like they're trying to go the Michael Bay Transformers route with these human characters.
That's what happened. That's the feeling I got with Godzilla vs. Kong in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Like King of the Monsters was teetering toward that a little, but it like corrected itself a bit. Corrected itself where it needed to. This one didn't.
Yeah.
And that makes me afraid of human portrayals later on down the road.
Yeah. Even the director of GVK said that when he included Mechagodzilla, he was inspired by one of the Michael Bay Transformers and said, I want that in a movie.
And make some other robot movie that's not Transformers.
Yeah. Well, anyways, while we're on the subject of how these creatures looked, let's compare them to other versions. Let's start with Godzilla himself, the king of the monsters. Honestly, I think that this version of Godzilla is the best. He's the best looking. He has the best roar. I mean, his atomic breath just looks like a blue flame, but they want to keep it like as semi-realistic as possible. They don't want to make it look like a giant Kamehameha wave, like from the Heisei movies and whatnot. And
I could see what they were doing when they had the atomic breath in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not mince words. It did look pretty weak at that time, but it was still a hype moment.
Yeah, it was.
It looked pretty weak, but they wanted it to look like Godzilla was breathing out this stream.
Yeah.
This stream of like misty flame.
Yeah.
They ended up fixing that for King of the Monsters to make his breath get more oomph when he's fighting Ghidorah.
Mm-hmm. I do kind of like how in 2014, Godzilla kind of fought like a strategist because he used the atomic breath as like a last resort towards like the finale of 2014.
Yeah, this version of Godzilla is far more physical than some incarnations. Mm-hmm. Like the Showa era was pretty physical. Mm-hmm. Heisei era, not so much because
of how slow moving he was.
Well, I'd say because of how slow moving he was, but also because of the way the suits were made.
Yeah.
In the Heisei era,
yeah, because they made him way too bulky.
Yeah, they made him way too.
Excuse me.
Way too thick.
Don't worry, I'm not going to say it.
Thank you. Somebody will, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. Also, this Godzilla in the Monsterverse, he does go burning mode. For those of you who don't know, his burning mode was his nuclear meltdown form that he had from Godzilla vs. Destroya back in the Heisei era. And in order for him to...
It fit with what they were doing in King of the Monsters. I just didn't know how to feel about bringing his burning form into it because... spoilers for spoilers for Godzilla vs. Destroya. Godzilla dies in that movie.
Yeah,
and it's partly because he was burning up, and his body was basically shutting down and all that stuff.
Yeah, which would make sense. But in this one, he's more like an uber-charged heavy from TF2.
Yeah,
and yes, there's memes of that. And when he does get ubercharged, he unleashes the nuclear pulse, which is basically like what you would see in DBZ, where like it's a key aura that surrounds his body and it goes outward and disintegrates anything in its path.
But the way Godzilla utilizes it, it's more like he builds up I think he like builds up the atomic energy or breath or whatever inside of himself and refuses and
to let it go. Yeah,
and doesn't let it go out of his mouth, and instead the energy has to come out somewhere, and it just comes out of the pores or scales of his body instead.
Yeah, because when I first saw that scene, I thought he was going to do the red spiral ray.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see that in future iterations.
Mm-hmm. As for me. How would you describe the way Godzilla looks?
Well, Godzilla. Originally,
I could see a lot of the scales on him, making him a little bit more crocodilian.
Yeah, he does look more crocodile-like, but I really thought that this movie was going to go like in a realistic direction, like kind of like what 98 did, where they just blew him up to the size of a giant iguana. I thought like he was going to be some mutated crocodile, but no, he's actually a mutated prehistoric creature like in the actual Toho lore.
Yeah. Well, they actually went further and say that he and the rest of the Titans were like predated the dinosaurs or something.
Oh yeah. Not only that, but his body, Godzilla's body, people complained that he looked kind of fat.
Yeah, I don't look at him and I think he's fat. I think he looks very well built for what kind of animal he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not only that, but like I saw like pictures where like they kind of like compared like his body to that of a bear somewhat. Probably because of how like big his body is, his upper body or whatever.
Possibly.
Yeah, but funny story. I remember back when I was still friends with Anthony, I showed him the design of Godzilla 2014. He complained that he looked fat, and then he like drew a picture of him like with an MLP shirt and a fedora.
Oh, come on.
Like saying that he looks like his fan base.
Aye, aye, aye.
Yeah, basically he drew him as like this whole like beta male soy boy, stereotypical like basement dweller.
Oh, shame on you, Anthony. Anthony, you may be my friend, but shame on you.
I'm sorry, but like I had to bring that up.
I know. Now,
Okay.
How about Kong?
Yes, I was just gonna get to Kong. So now we're gonna talk about the eighth wonder of the world himself, Kong. This Kong, he has a good design. Like, well, they're not trying to go for like a gorilla for this design, even though he is one. He looks more like a Sasquatch, which isn't a bad idea.
They want him to go monkey, but they didn't want him to go full monkey.
Yeah. Because Peter Jackson's Kong looked more like an actual silverback.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, like I said, looks like a Sasquatch.
And Kong in these films, how did you like the fact that they gave Kong that mountain gorilla brown rather than the
like black?
Rather than the traditional silverback black look?
I think it's okay. And I do
it kind of does fit with his original Toho iteration.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Except he doesn't look like Roadkill.
Not only that, but later on in GVK, he grows a beard.
Yeah. Like when you're introduced to Kong in the Skull Island,
he's basically a teenager.
Yeah, he was an adolescent. He was in his adolescent stage. And having rewatched the movies recently, you could easily compare and see how much Kong has matured between those two films.
Yeah, but he's still a brutal fighter. I mean, just brutal. I mean, like what he did to the Skull Crawler in Skull Island, what he did to the Warbat in GVK.
What he did to the helicopters even.
Oh, yeah. This Kong shows no mercy at all.
Unless you treat him with respect.
Yeah. He fights like a Mortal Kombat fighter.
Yeah.
With a mix of Street Fighter a little bit, but more like a Mortal Kombat fighter, definitely.
And he is still consistently portrayed as a defender, as a protector.
Yeah.
And that's something I really like. That's something we don't see monsters portrayed as with this well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, sure, we get stories where, like, oh, the monsters is one of the good guys, but this one actually does go to show you that this Kong is, despite being a brutish animal, he is not
like a rampaging beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, he's got a cool battle axe. Because the battle axe in GVK is the hilt is a bone, but the blade comes from one of the back spines from Godzilla species.
Yeah, it's actually pretty. It's actually and another thing I love about this Kong is that for a beast, he is intelligent.
Oh yeah,
like his species was able to craft tools, as we saw as you brought it up, as we saw from Godzilla versus Kong. and I would say that Kong's species, based on their intelligence level, may be on the same level as like Cro-Magnon.
Cro-Magnon?
Early man.
Oh, you mean like a Neanderthal or troglodyte?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, I could see that. Let's see.
I mean, heck, if they were able to craft a throne.
Yeah.
The Iron Throne's got nothing on this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Plus, I believe that his battle axe is a better weapon than Stormbreaker. Because every time I go to conventions or like Frankensons, I never see a replica of Khan's battle axe. I mean, you can get it online, but it's like an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
I'd kill for that axe. Let's see. So we talked about the two heroes. Let's talk about one of the villain kaijus, King Ghidorah.
I'd say they did a fantastic job portraying Ghidorah as a legitimate malevolent force.
Yes, and I do love the promos for King Ghidorah and like the backstory for him where like he's frozen in ice and they say the devil has 3 heads, like Dante Inferno. Oh man, that's just amazing because even, not to get religious, but even the Bible says that the devil himself is a dragon.
Well, the Bible has mentions of it. Has mentions of comparing him to a dragon. I'd have to read up on that, but I do remember one scene in particular. It was when they used the oxygen destroyer on Godzilla and Ghidorah in the ocean, and Ghidorah came out, but one of his head.
Yeah, because Godzilla ripped off his head.
Yeah, and they went back. He went back and landed on top of the mountain Rodan emerged from. And you see Ghidorah's head regenerated. It reminded me of a passage in the Bible talking about the multi-headed beast in Revelations.
And then when Ghidorah roars, you like see the cross in the background.
Yeah, I thought that was very good religious apocalyptic imagery.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
not only that, but this Ghidorah, like his heads have like different personalities.
Yeah, even in the production, they even gave names to each one: Ichi, Ni, and San.
Or Kevin.
Oh yeah.
That's what the fans call him.
The fans may call the third head Kevin, but it's San.
Yeah, I don't know why they call him Kevin.
And I don't. And looking back at that movie, the third head was not derpy-ish.
Yeah, he acted more like a dog because when he vaporized those soldiers in Antarctica, he was like licking the remains of it while the middle head was like snapping at him.
Yeah.
Like, knock it off. And even when the third head was regenerating, the middle head like just bit onto it while it was still growing and just pulled it out. Like he was getting impatient.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Ghidorah is definitely was a threat to humanity because they did his whole alien origin like from the old Toho movies.
Yeah. Although I would have loved to have seen a proper fight in the daytime with Ghidorah.
Yeah.
They made it so that wherever Ghidorah goes, he like ushers in an entire hurricane. He is the eye.
Yeah.
And he acts as the eye of that storm.
Yep. He's a total god of thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I know in the original movies, his lightning beams are actually gravity beams that can like levitate like Godzilla and whatnot.
Either levitate or put tremendous amounts of pressure.
Yeah. But this one, like his lightning beams are like Darkseid's Omega beams. They just vaporize the shit out of you.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it for Ghidorah?
I think that should be it for Ghidorah for right now. How about Mothra?
Yeah, let's talk about Mothra. Mothra, like all movies, is introduced as a larva.
Yeah. How did you feel that they handled Mothra's character?
As like this goddess?
Yes.
Great, because that's what she is. She's like the embodiment of Mother Nature.
True enough. She, even in her little worm even in her little worm form, you couldn't help but admire the way she moves and the way she sounds and the way she acts.
Yeah.
Which is odd because you're talking about a worm.
Yeah.
A bug, an ugly little worm.
Yeah.
But then you see me, and then you see her come back later in the movie in her adult form, and
it's pretty majestic looking.
it's pretty majestic looking. I am not sure about the overall structure because it made her look a little bit more like a wasp.
Yeah, she even had a stinger like one, and she could still shoot the silk webs, but I guess they didn't want to make her too like much into a poofy butterfly. But like she's got like a relationship with Godzilla, and like they joked about that, and like it's complicated.
Yeah, any fan of Godzilla knows that Mothra and Godzilla's relationship is extremely complicated.
Yeah.
Because I don't really think they get along with each other at all.
No.
And the only times they do is when they're up against a threat that they can't beat by themselves.
Yeah. Not only that, but with Mothra, she's basically the Jean Grey of kaiju because she ends up dying. But her spirit goes inside Godzilla's body, and that's how he gets the burning mode nuclear pulse abilities.
Mothra.
And when Godzilla does unleash his nuclear pulse, you hear Mothra's battle cry.
Mothra's a complicated character. Her story, a large part of Mothra's theme is death and rebirth.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if that every time Mothra dies, she either lays an egg leaves an egg behind for her eventual return, or the planet wills her back to life and makes an egg.
Yeah. Also, with Mothra, it's funny how like in past movies, Godzilla can handle her in her adult form, but he can't handle the larva.
Well, there's two larvae.
Yeah, true.
He's normally pitted against two of the worms.
Yeah.
And honestly, in the Showa era, I do love how the worms like mess with him a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of the concept art for Godzilla, I know originally they wanted to go for like the more Heisei route, and then they tried to go for more dinosaur T-Rex looking route or sea creature route, but I'm glad they went with the more crocodilian route. I remember
there's some dinosaur in there.
Yeah, with Ghidorah, they wanted to go for like an eel route, but I'm glad they went for the dragon route.
Yeah. Because you look at past iterations of Ghidorah, it is a three-headed dragon. Not a hydra, just straight up dragon.
Yeah. Cut off one head, two more take its place. Hail Hydra. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we talked about Mothra.
Mothra.
Rodan.
Okay, let's talk about Rodan.
Rodan, well, he was tossed into the midst because, like, he wasn't really good or evil. He was just trying to obey Ghidorah because Ghidorah thought he had Godzilla killed with the oxygen destroyer. But spoilers, Godzilla's life was just hanging by a thread. And for those who don't know what the oxygen destroyer is, the oxygen destroyer is a weapon that was created by Dr. Serizawa from the original Godzilla movie, which not only kills Godzilla, but also him in order to sacrifice himself to save Japan from Godzilla's rampage.
Yeah. I felt that they brought in the oxygen destroyer a little too early.
Yeah, they did.
As for Rodan, though, I agree. He is more of a neutral. He's more of a neutral character who serves an established alpha.
Yeah.
And when Godzilla came back, he still served Ghidorah because he was still the current alpha.
Yeah, it would have been better if like this Rodan was like a rival to Godzilla.
Kind of like how they were in the Showa.
Yeah. But I guess they wanted to just make it where like Ghidorah was like the eternal enemy for Godzilla.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much time has passed. Ghidorah will still remain as Godzilla's most constant nemesis.
True, but even I think in this universe they said that the Kongs and the Godzillas were like natural born enemies, like for Titan supremacy. Like, how do you explain the battle ats?
That's true. That's true. They were both alpha species of the planet.
Yep.
Well,
and with Rodan, I just like how like every time he flies, just buildings just topple over. That's how big his wingspan is.
That's how big his wingspan is, and that's how fast he is flying.
Yep.
Because, like, I remember in the theater being amazed at, even though you're looking at a CGI creature, it's amazing thinking to yourself, how in the world is a creature that size making turns that would shear any of our planes in half?
Yeah. Yeah, but what sucks is that, like, with these other kaijus, I mean, obviously Ghidorah was going to die, but with Mothra and Rodan in the beginning of Godzilla vs. Kong, you see, like a recap of the past movies, and then you, like, see, like, little thumbnails of these kaiju, and it says, like, either defeated, destroyed, out of sight, or whatever. And, like,
defeated.
Yeah, we're like, wait a minute.
I've read the tie-in comics that... Godzilla Dominion, and it explains the whole defeated thing. Godzilla's been actually going around the world policing all the other Titans.
Yeah,
and I guess they're just taking stock of the ones that Godzilla put in their place.
Yeah, so
not kill. Yeah, just like making sure they submit to his authority.
Yeah, so I'm guessing Rodan tried to challenge Godzilla, but he got his ass whooped. He didn't die.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because I would like to see more of Rodan and probably a rebirth Mothra and whatnot.
I would love to see Anguirus come back.
Oh yeah, because there's a quick blink you'll miss it Easter egg when it's in the
I tried finding it when I was rewatching it. I couldn't find it.
Oh, it was his skeleton.
Yeah.
It was in the throne room of Godzilla underwater. And well, since we talked about all the kaiju, let's talk about the humans. Let's start with Serizawa.
Well, what about the other?
Oh, yeah, the other monsters. Well...
The Mutos.
Yeah, the Mutos. The Mutos, well, the design, they look too much, a little bit more like the Cloverfield monster, but their abilities were pretty cool. Like, they feed off of radiation. They're like parasites, because one of them, like, killed, like, one of Godzilla's species. And they mentioned it in the 2014 movie. Like, they said, is this Godzilla? And they said, no, it was another species. Like, they fed off its body and, like, laid cocoons and whatnot so that they could feed off his radiation. And, like, their abilities that they charge EMP blasts.
Yeah, the discovery of the EMP blast made this monster, like, 10 times more threatening for humanity.
Yeah, like...
Because, like, how many of our military hardware relies on electricity?
True.
So good on them for making a decent threat, but like you said, it looked more. The design of the Mutos looked like a mix of the Cloverfield monster and the bugs from Starship Troopers.
Yeah. And there actually is another Muto in Key to the Monsters called, I think it's Muto Prime.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised Godzilla didn't go apeshit over it.
Who knows? Who knows the reason?
Maybe this Muto wasn't like trying to like do what the other Mutos were trying to do. Maybe it was just trying to live its days. But there was one big kaiju we missed out on that we didn't get to talk about before these ones. Mechagodzilla.
Oh, right. Mechagodzilla. What thoughts on Mechagodzilla?
Well, the design was probably the weakest in the live action series, but it's still better design than the anime version, even though I haven't seen those movies and I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, I don't know
this looked too Transformers Michael Bay-like.
Yeah, I could understand if this was like a prototype for Mechagodzilla.
Oh, that would be cool.
But like, I would much... For me, my favorite design for Mechagodzilla has to be Kiryu.
Yeah, no argument there.
It was 2002 and 2003.
Yeah, with this Mechagodzilla, I thought they were going to go the Kiryu route where they take the body of a past Godzilla and use its skeleton as a basis. But what happens is that at the end credits of King of the Monsters, one of Ghidorah's severed heads, is taken by these, not the military, but more like these mercenaries.
Yeah.
And they...
I guess they must have sold it to Apex.
Yeah, they sold it to Apex, which is a corporation that that created Mechagodzilla and used Ghidorah's skull as a base computer.
Yeah.
Which is a reference to Mecha King Ghidorah from the Heisei era.
Yeah. Although,
Yeah, but this Mechagodzilla, I mean, I do like how Godzilla didn't stand a chance because it had every protocol for everything. It was like a Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
But once Kong teamed up, it got its ass beat.
Yep.
Its head chopped off and everything.
Well, not chopped off. It was just torn off.
Yeah, it got its head whacked, but then Kong just ripped the skull out Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah. Fatality.
Oh, that was great. Let's see. So, we're still on the subject of the other monsters. Let's see. So we talked about the Mutos. How about the Skullcrawlers?
The Skullcrawlers were The Skullcrawlers, I think, were kind of basic, but also somewhat unique since they only had 2 legs and a long, slithery body.
And like a prehensile tongue.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept to have Kong, this intelligent beast, go up against these reptilian subterranean creatures that only rely on pure instinct. They don't really think much. They just kill and eat.
Yeah. Well, during the fight with Godzilla and Kong, when Godzilla kind of like basically was beating Godzilla's ass, Godzilla, I know we said he kind of like has like fights like a strategist or has like an intellect, but he kind of like loses that intelligence and just goes full savage, like just clawing and biting at Kong. But Kong doesn't do that. He still keeps his cool, but he, like I said, fights like a Mortal Kombat fighter.
Yeah. I don't think there's really much to say about the Skullcrawlers, do you?
Yeah, you're right, because later on in GVK, they're used as cannon fodder.
Yeah. So the human characters.
Oh, no, there's still more kaijus, but they're kind of throwaway, though.
Yeah, they had interesting designs.
Yeah, like the behemoth.
The behemoth is my favorite.
Yeah.
Scylla was okay, but it was just a spider with Cthulhu's face.
Yeah, the behemoth was basically like a mammoth, but it didn't have a trunk. It looked more like a sloth with tusks.
Yeah.
But they said that it could like technically control like the weather or the climate or something like that. It had some abilities. Like chlorokinesis. I think in one of the newspaper
flashes at the end of King of the Monsters, it said that Behemoth's presence was helping revitalize the rainforest.
Yeah.
And then Methuselah, he's just big.
Yeah, he's a mountain.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for all the other kaijus that were just throwaways.
So about the human characters.
Oh wait, one more thing. There was other creatures like in Hollow Earth and GVK.
Oh yeah, the Warbats.
Yeah, the Warbats. But there was also this little reptilian creature that looked kind of like a little Godzilla, but originally that was supposed to be Anguirus, the one that ate the crab.
That would have been insulting.
If that was Anguirus?
Yeah, if that was Anguirus, that would have been insulting.
It would have been a good cameo. You would have thought it was insulting? How? Oh, because
of the way it looks.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have him look like a carnivorous ankylosaur.
Yeah. They were going for that design, but I guess they couldn't get the rights for Toho back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I guess that's it for all the monsters. Let's talk about the humans. Start with the best one, Serizawa.
Serizawa's character is the one that adamantly believes that there could be a balanced coexistence between man and monster in this universe.
But sadly, he sacrifices himself in order to save Godzilla's life. But I do love that parallel, how like in the original movie, his character sacrifices himself in order to destroy Godzilla, but this one sacrifices himself to save Godzilla.
Yeah, that's a good flip. That's a good flip of the script.
Yeah, and it was kind of pretty poignant when he sacrificed himself because in Japanese he actually says "goodbye, old friend."
Yeah.
Oh.
And
I think there's a reason why they got rid of his actor though.
Yeah, he was dealing with health problems.
Yeah, he's diagnosed with stomach cancer, unfortunately.
And I don't know and I think he decided to dip out of the series because he didn't know if he was going to make it. Yeah.
And he's played by Ken Watanabe, and you know what? I want him as Splinter in a good live-action TMNT movie. Come on, it will be good.
Probably.
Is that it for Serizawa?
Yeah. How about Bryan Cranston's character as well as his son, Brody?
Well, the son's just kind of boring. I mean, like...
I don't know. I think there's a consistent theme between...
Father and son?
Yes, a consistent theme between father and son throughout not just Godzilla, but in all 4 movies.
Yeah, well, you do have
Let's think about it. Let's think about it for a second. In Godzilla, you had Brody's relationship to his father and how it impacted his desire to protect his own family and his own son.
Yeah.
And then we had Kong, Skull Island, where John C. Reilly's character has been stuck in this
and I think
island.
He died.
Had been stuck on this hellhole of an island ever since World War II, and the only thing he has keeping him going is the idea of his wife and his son.
Yep.
And wanting to get back to that life. In King of the Monsters, the main character we follow there,
because
his daughter was...
Didn't the son die in the San Francisco attack, and they have the daughter left?
Yes, and so the dad went. Even though the dad got divorced with the wife, he ended up getting involved when it was clear what his ex was doing. What his ex was doing in that film, and tried to do everything he can to make sure that the world is a safer place for his daughter.
Yeah, because the ex is basically like a Ra's al Ghul. She believes that these monsters should like cleanse the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a bit of a psychopath.
Yeah. And then in Kong Skull, and then in Godzilla versus Kong,
same characters.
You get the father. You get the idea of the father and child, the father and child dynamic in a different sense, where Kong was the father figure to
this little girl.
To this little girl he grew a bond with.
Yeah, and Kong actually knows sign language in that movie. I mean, well, the Peter Jackson one did too, but this one knew like a lot more sign language.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool because, I mean, there are apes that do know sign language.
Well, when you teach them sign language.
Yeah, true.
At least.
And, man, it kind of sucked how like all the rest of the natives of Skull Island died because I wanted them to sing that song from King Kong versus Godzilla from the show era.
I know. That would have been so beautiful to hear them chanting and praising Kong.
And it would have been kind of cool, like when Kong was being revived by let's just call it the Superettes.
Yeah.
As a defibrillator, it would have been cool, like if he got like his strength from the electricity.
I know it's called a heave, but it might as well just be the Super X.
Yeah. It would have been cool if he had like his electrical strength powers, like from the Showa era. Where like he's touching Mechagodzilla and like just sapping the energy out of him. Or just does an electric punch or charges the battle axe like Thor.
Come on, we don't want Kong to become Blanca now.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
But anyway, back to the human characters. I don't think Brody was that bad of a character. He served his purpose in that movie. Skull Island's characters.
They were the strongest point. Yeah.
Skull Island's
I
characters
just wish
shined
that
a lot.
Bryan Cranston's character was bonding with Serizawa.
Yeah, me too.
That would have had a great dynamic.
Me too. And
but yeah, Skull Island had the best human characters.
Even the characters that you knew were going to die, they had such good personality that when they went, you actually felt like, God damn it.
Yeah, like John Goodman.
John Goodman's character, that one weird guy, you know the weird guy.
Oh, yeah, the one that tried to kamikaze himself?
Yeah.
Well, Sam Jetson, you kind of wanted him to die, but then again, there's every movie he's in, he always dies, so...
Oh, you're not wrong.
Let's see. Is that it for the human characters in Skull Island?
Yeah.
How about King of the Monsters?
King of the Monsters.
Yeah, they got rid of most, if not all, from 2014.
Yeah, they did get rid of all from 2014 because
except Serizawa.
You remember Serizawa's assistant? She she got eaten by Ghidorah.
Oh yeah, but she had a twin though, right?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say that there was a female.
The assistant from 2014.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, but
she was the one that got eaten by Ghidorah.
But there is like this Japanese woman from King of the Monsters, and says that she had a twin sister, which is a reference to the Shojabin fairies that
and we
praise
actually
Mothra.
And we actually do see this twin sister at the site where Mothra was emerging from her cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
And she said it was like a generational thing.
Yeah.
Where we even see a picture of their mother and her sister,
mm-hmm.
and the next generation.
Yeah.
And there was supposed to, and to my knowledge, there was supposed to be a little extra scene where they were prepping these two twin children to become the next priestesses for the next Mothra.
That would have been awesome. It would have been also better if they sang the Mothra song. But we do get it in the end credit scene.
We do hear the theme, but we don't hear the song itself.
Yeah.
But there is a track out there where you do hear the song played naturally.
Also, I'm going to say this. The best soundtrack of all these movies is King of the Monsters, because it plays Akira Ifukube's composition of the Godzilla theme by Bear Mccreary, the composer of the God of War games.
Yes. He did.
He
knew exactly to put so much weight where it needed to be in that theme to make this theme even more powerful than it already was.
I'm surprised it didn't make me cry.
And
but yeah, it's too bad it didn't have the same music in GVK. The Virgin GVK soundtrack versus the Chad King of the Monster soundtrack.
What about the daughter character?
Oh, you mean I forgot her name,
Madison.
But I know that she's in Stranger Things.
Yeah. We already mentioned about her mother's character portrayal, and
apparently
she got nuts, but she did have somewhat of a redemption arc at the end of the movie.
Yeah, where basically like there's this device called what's it called? Not the sonar, but
the Orca.
Oh, the Orca. Yeah, that's right. Like
where she basically synthesizes
the roars,
alpha car.
An alpha call of the Titans in order to like either calm them down or summon them. But if you do it wrong, it pisses them off.
Yeah.
But at the end of the movie, she uses the Orca to summon Godzilla to go after Ghidorah.
Madison did, and at the
I thought the wife did.
No, the wife used the Orca to lure Ghidorah away from her daughter. But yeah,
and oh man, I mean that movie had some great scenes though, like the fights with Godzilla and Ghidorah, like the anime clash.
Yeah.
Or when Godzilla is falling from Earth, like a meteor, and he's burning up.
How? He landed on his back.
Ooh.
Just.
Yeah.
You have you guys seen Godzilla's back? Those spines, they're connected to this. They're called spines for a reason.
Yeah. And what else? Oh, like the finale where all the Titans are circling him and they're bowing down to him and he roars. That's a great shot.
That shot was beautifully composited. But like, I guess there aren't really that much to say about the human characters in King of the Monsters.
You mean GVK?
No, King of the Monsters.
Oh yeah, because
yes, there are some characters that have their little comedic moments that kind of fit. They didn't go full Michael Bay.
Yeah.
But like, they're not really that remarkable.
Yeah.
The daughter was okay in King of the Monsters, but I'm sorry, I found her performance kind of insufferable in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, because most of these characters return in GVK.
It was, I don't know. She was kind of rude in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Because I know that she believes that Godzilla is still a force of good, but the dad said, no, Godzilla's gone rogue. But we all know why Godzilla's going on a rampage is because he can still sense Ghidorah's energy from Mechagodzilla as he was being created.
Exactly.
That's why Godzilla was destroying all the Apex facilities instead of just a random city.
Yep.
But yeah, I just wish that GVK had the same soundtrack from King of the Monsters.
Well, I guess Toho is pretty stingy about their licensing.
Yep.
But honestly, the characters on the Godzilla side of Godzilla vs. Kong weren't really all that compelling. They were the ones that felt the most like Michael Bay.
Yeah.
And I mean, the actors did the best job they could. I will say that, but I'm sorry, I couldn't really get invested with their performances. They, especially conspiracy theorists and Madison's friend, they were pretty buffoonish.
Yeah, they were.
It's almost like Hollywood has this aversion of portraying men as men nowadays.
Yeah.
But that's a story for a whole other show.
Yeah.
But the Kong side was pretty good.
Yeah, because Kong was basically the underdog in this movie.
I was talking about the human characters in Kong.
Oh yeah.
For the Kong side.
Yeah, they kind of. I mean, with that movie though, you do kind of feel like you're on Kong's side though.
This movie felt like it was Kong's story.
Yeah.
More than a Godzilla and Kong story. Mm-hmm.
Even though Godzilla was like in the title, like he had the first name in the title.
The fights,
and he did build this universe technically.
And this film, the fight between Godzilla and Kong was like the biggest highlight. Was like the biggest highlight in the whole film. Mm-hmm. I just wish that all these movies had better choreographed fights. Yeah. Like I know they're supposed to be animals and they're supposed to fight like animals, but
yeah, I mean,
you gotta give us
with Kong's fights in this movie, like in the Hong Kong fight, he does a drop kick like WWE style and starts like jumping all over the place.
Yeah,
it was missing wrestling commentary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, well, let's talk about like what we liked, didn't like, and I know we talked about all the human characters, not all of them sucked, but like, I do love the Easter eggs and references to past Godzilla movies because like, it's the little things that count with these movies.
We talked about some of those Easter eggs, like the twins.
Yeah, let's talk about the veggies. Yeah, Godzilla ate his veggies in that movie.
No, he ate his minerals.
But still, that was great.
Would you like to give context to what we're talking about?
So there's a meme out there where in the original King Kong versus Godzilla movie, during the climax of that, King Kong grabs a tree, shoves it down Godzilla's throat, and there's a meme that says, "Eat your veggies." Like there's a gift to that. In this movie, Godzilla v Kong, Kong gets his battle axe as Godzilla's about to do the atomic breath and shoves it down Godzilla's throat like the veggies meme.
That was actually pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
Because like all throughout that specific point in the fight, Godzilla was trying to get one atomic breath out, but Kong kept like interrupting him.
Yep.
And right when Godzilla thought he was about to get it.
Yep. I mean, even like King Kong, like there's Easter eggs to his fatality from the original movie, the Jawbreaker fatality.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's like his favorite move, even though we don't see it in this movie yet. I mean, when he ripped the head off the war bat, he started drinking its blood. That's metal as fuck, dude.
Started drinking its blood and started biting off some of the leftover tendons.
Yep. This Kong is metal as fuck. What else? About these Easter eggs and references. I mean, too bad that this Mechagodzilla didn't have like the second head to bamboozle Kong and Godzilla, but I don't think they were going to do that.
You mean like a brain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have been kind of cool, but nah. It would have been too corny.
Yeah. It's something good for the Showa era.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. We pretty much brought up the references when we were talking about these creatures.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, how about when in Hong Kong when Kong throws his axe to distract Godzilla, he's hanging on a building that looks very similar to the Empire State Building.
It was not. It wasn't his axe. It was a crane from the harbor.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that also shows a good level of intelligence. And let's just get this out of the way. Godzilla won that fight.
Yeah, he did.
I may love Godzilla, but I was rooting for Kong, and it was kind of disheartening to see him lose that fight.
Yeah.
But one thing I do take solace from, after the savage beatdown Kong took from Godzilla, and even when Godzilla had him dead to rights underneath his own foot, I loved the roar clash between them, as almost like Godzilla was demanding Kong to submit to his authority, and Kong just shouts back, "Never."
Yeah, because they even said Kong bows to no one,
and he didn't. But he would.
Yeah, because Godzilla could have easily killed him, but he decided not to.
Yeah, but I think Godzilla knew he was no threat anymore.
Yeah.
He was no threat anymore, and he was probably going to die of his wounds.
Yeah, Kong broke his arm bad, but he popped it back in place when he slammed into a building.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Not sure if that's how you're supposed to properly set an arm, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a movie anyway. I mean, we did mention that they learned from past mistakes, like with the nighttime, the daytime, and little stuff like that.
Finding a good balance of tone.
Yeah.
I felt they kind of lost that with Godzilla versus Kong, but yeah.
All right. Let's see. And they take their times with these movies, unlike the MCU.
Yeah, with the MCU movies, before Endgame.
Yeah.
With MCU movies, you knew that they had a plan. They had this stretch goal. Everything was like organized and figured out. They don't do that anymore. Yeah. But with like Godzilla, but with this MonsterVerse, they take their time. They make sure it's not a film every year.
Yeah.
And as much as I do want to see more films, I am so grateful that they take their time and wait a couple of years. So that way, hype builds up, dies down, and builds up again.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Let's see. What else do we have here?
What about you? Or did I just sum it up?
Yeah, you pretty much summed it up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the future of this franchise. There is a sequel coming out.
Wait. Did you want to rank the films or no?
Oh, yeah, let's rank the films. Yeah, sorry about that.
This is going to be hard for me.
All right, so with me, I felt like 2014 was like the weakest. I mean, yeah, it was a good like introduction, but to me, Skull Island beats it because like I remember talking to James Rolfe at the Frankenstein convention. About like what his thoughts are about 2014 and like how he feels about the future of the franchise, and he said that Kong Skull Island kind of helped rejuvenate that franchise a bit because it fits the past mistakes from 2014. And for those of you who don't know who James Rolfe is, he's the Angry Video Game Nerd. Yeah. So it was cool talking to him about that. And anyways, yeah. For bottom to top, it's 2014 Skull Island. Probably GVK, and then King of the Monsters.
Having rewatched these films very recently, I would have to say, I'm sorry, Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Kong are basically tied for third for me. I do not know which one to dock down. Because, like I said, 2014 Godzilla had a very consistent tone that left very little room for humor, and I felt that this was one of the film's strong points. It did not feel like it was going to be hokey, campy, and they treated the story seriously, and they didn't like talk down to the audience audience with dumb humor. And that's something that I think it has over something like Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
But Godzilla vs. Kong had great character portrayals between Godzilla and Kong themselves. Mostly Kong. Yeah. But Yeah, so those two are tied for third. Second is definitely Skull Island, and first has to be King of the Monsters, because I felt King of the Monsters held the perfect balance between Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, it did.
And I felt something was lost when they made Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah. Also, what was cool is that during the credits of King of the Monsters, it plays Blue Oyster's Cult song Godzilla, but by
it's more of a remix.
Yeah, but it's by the guy from trying to think. He's from a band. It's not Papa Roach. It's it's on the tip of my tongue. It's the guy that sings. I gotta look it up.
Okay, let's see. So while he's looking it up, this podcast was brought to you by.
Oh no! Oh, I thought you were gonna end the show right now.
Nah, not Raid Shadow Legends. If only.
I know that I have one of his songs on my phone. I'm not gonna play the song. I'm just gonna look up the name of the band. I think. Hold on. Let's see.
I gotta do something. Hurry up, man. I can only talk for so long to make sure this doesn't end with like silence and people forget.
Yeah, I know.
And people start thinking, is it over now?
Oh, like when our experience at the movies with me and Brian?
Yeah.
Hold on. System of a Down.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know the main singer, but the guy who sings the Blue Oyster Cult Godzilla song is from System of a Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good rendition, and
yeah,
it actually felt more hype.
Yep. All right. Let's see what else is next here. I know it's on my notes. It is
future.
The future of the franchise.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we do know that GVK is getting a sequel. However, some people thought it was going to be Son of Kong, and some people thought it was going to be a third Godzilla movie, or like they thought the MonsterVerse was dead. But nope, it's now a team-up movie called Godzilla and Kong. And the rumors for the villain is that it's possibly going to be Space Godzilla. But some people say that it might be a hybrid of Space Godzilla and Biollante.
I mentioned this on the way over here, and I think it is far too early to include a monster like Space Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Not only because of where it fits in this movie timeline, but also because I'm going to be honest. As much as I love Space Godzilla, he is not that popular of a monster in Godzilla's wheelhouse.
Yeah, because
sadly.
he was a one and done monster in the Heisei movie, but I think fans of like the games and the comics kind of like hype him up a little bit too much.
Yeah, for good reason. I think because throughout all of Godzilla's filmography, he still remains to be the one monster he never beat by himself.
Yeah, true.
He beat everyone else by himself at some point in one of the movies. Sure, you could go back in the Showa era and say, "Oh, he didn't beat Hedorah. He had to have help from the humans." Yes, but he beat him single-handedly in Final Wars, so that counts.
Well, wasn't that a deleted scene in Final Wars?
No.
Oh.
It was just really quick.
Oh yeah. I know that
it was just really quick. He killed both him and Ibira.
Yeah, that with what's his name? Mechagodzilla, that's right. Godzilla needed help with that too. Like he got King Caesar's help, he got Rodan's help. But in the Millennium movie
in Terror of Mechagodzilla, he fought him by himself.
Oh yeah, and he fought two kaijus,
yeah.
Titanosaurus.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that. But with the Millennium movies, he did survive the Absolute Zero Cannon.
Yeah.
But he got his ass handed to him by Kiryu with help of Mothra. But Khan helped him in GVK.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So how would you want the films to go down?
Well, I mean, instead of Space Godzilla, I would have probably picked Biollante. Like, what if like there's like leftover people from Apex? Instead of doing cybernetics, they do biogenetics.
Mm-hmm.
Like they start experimenting with the Titan DNA, and they use plants, and they get Godzilla's DNA and experiment it on a plant, and that becomes Biollante.
Any other film ideas?
I remember Brian told me about this. Like, it would be cool if like they did like something like that, like a clone of Godzilla, but an imperfect clone, and that imperfect clone looks exactly like the '98 Godzilla.
I feel that Zilla's design would fit very well within this MonsterVerse.
Yeah.
However, I think it would be even better if it was a subspecies of Godzilla.
Yeah, because believe it or not, I don't know if this was fan made, like if someone had a pitch for this, or if this was really gonna happen. But there was supposed to be an animated series of Godzilla created by the Transformers animated people. And apparently Zilla was supposed to be the adoptive son of Godzilla. And yeah, I think he was supposed to be a subspecies.
That would have been an interesting concept.
Yeah, not only that, but one of the concepts that they had was that they wanted to not only have Kong in it, they wanted to have Frankenstein in it. Yeah, and like they were going to say that this Frankenstein, I believe, was like from the Universal movies. And the Kong in this was also the original Kong, who gets brought back to life Frankenstein style with the electric powers. Yeah, for those who don't know, the reason why Kong had electric abilities and King Kong versus Godzilla is because originally it was supposed to be Frankenstein versus Godzilla, and we all know that Frankenstein was created by electricity.
Yeah.
And Ghidorah, in the animated series that I'm talking about, was supposed to be the one of many, where like he's just a spawn from Kaiser Ghidorah.
Yikes.
Who's the prime Ghidorah. Let's see, what else? Let's see. Since they did introduce the whole, like, Titans from space, why not Gigan?
Gigan is Gigan is one of those characters where you look at him and you think to yourself, this looks goofy as heck, but you see him in action and you realize how deadly of a threat he is.
Mm-hmm. Or, like, what if he actually was created on Earth as, like, this cybernetic, bioengineered Titan?
That would have been freaky.
Yeah, like, because, like, when you look at, what if he was, like, a genetically modified Muto? Because when you look at the Muto's head, like, the eye looks like Gigan's visor eye.
Did you have any other ideas, or?
Well, I know as much as you do, I want to see Anguirus.
Yes. I want to see Anguirus in some capacity.
Definitely.
I'm only asking this because I have like a whole like timeline laid out for me.
Oh, cool. Not only that, but one of the crabs in that movie, DVK, when they go to Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
You know the oxygen destroyer that was used in King of the Monsters?
Yes.
What if one of those crabs came to Earth and that
came up to the surface?
Yes. And that crab got mutated by the oxygen destroyer and became Destroyer.
That might be okay.
Yeah, because I mean the final movie's got to be a Destroy All Monsters movie with Destroyer as the main villain.
Yeah. Shall I go ahead and go through my theoretical timeline for that stuff?
Sure.
All right. So you pretty much listed a lot of the stuff that I would have done, that I would have wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
But like, here's what I would have liked in this theoretical timeline. Because of the battle in Hong Kong, they could try a modernized version of the Biollante storyline, like you said.
Yeah.
It could be a science gone wrong kind of story where they harvest bits of Godzilla's DNA after his fight with Kong and Mechagodzilla, and they inadvertently create a monster from it.
Mm-hmm.
That would go into the themes of humanity playing God with forces that they do not understand.
Yeah.
And Biollante, I think, is one of. This is odd to say. It's one of this is very odd to say about something of a monster like this. Her story is one of the more tragic but beautiful stories I've seen in this genre of movies.
Yeah.
After that, and come on, how would you like to see Biolante's vines just tearing through a laboratory?
That would be cool.
Seeing her rose form appearing in the lake.
Feed me, Seymour.
Appearing in the lake, and then later on evolving into the crocodilian monstrous chimera that she ends in from the original series.
Yeah.
That would me. And seeing the whole process, imagine after the fight you think Biolante is dead, but the feathers fall away and there's the crocodile head.
Oh yeah,
that would have been absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, the effects they did in the Heisei series with Biolante are amazing.
I'm amazed that I have to wonder how many strings got tangled up with just puppeteering her puppeteering her tentacles.
Yeah, because as big as she is, she can move fast.
Yeah. After that,
she's thick and quick.
After that, I would want the film to follow up with that. Mm-hmm. Would have more of an environmental message.
Ooh.
And I can't think of a more perfect monster for an environmental horrific
Hedorah.
monster film than Hedorah, the smog monster.
Yep.
Because let's look at you go ahead. Name all of Hedorah's powers. What makes him so terrifying?
Let's see. That he can secrete sludge, and the sludge can disintegrate flesh, and
his sludge is like sulfuric acid.
Yeah, and even though it was in the Showa era, it was a pretty disturbing movie.
He consumes pollution and he excretes pollution.
Yep.
And what would make him a terrifying force is that while he's going around doing his thing, he ends up polluting and destroying all of the hard work the Titans have done to try and heal the planet.
Yep.
So whether it's Godzilla or Mothra, they would have to try and find a way to stop this thing from corroding the planet and making it and stop it from suffocating it to death.
True. Give a hoot, don't pollute.
You think that would have been interesting to see?
Yeah.
Especially considering how unstoppable Hedorah was in the Showa era.
Yeah.
It's like no matter what you threw at him, he just kept on coming.
Yep.
And after that, you could follow it up with an invasion film. Imagine that
the Zellions?
Yeah. Knowing Toho's wheelhouse of aliens, the Exelians would be the perfect candidates for it. Mm-hmm. You could even come up with a cool design for what they really look like as opposed to their human forms. Uh-huh. You could have it either Invasion of the Body Snatchers or Secret War.
Ooh.
Where you have Exelians have already invaded the Earth and are learning about the Titans and all that stuff. And they see Godzilla had destroyed Monster Zero.
Yeah. AKA King Ghidorah.
And they were using Monster Zero and even Hedorah to collect data on the monsters on this planet.
Yeah.
So perhaps you may even throw in the Nebula Space Hunter M. Are you familiar with them or no?
Nebula Space Hunter M?
The cockroaches.
Oh yeah, Megalon.
No.
Oh.
Gigan.
Oh, yeah.
Because of their connection to Gigan
in
the old
right,
movies.
Because Ghidorah and Gigan were buddies.
The thing is, to make it interesting, I would have wanted it to be both Gigan and Megalon.
Yeah.
And during this whole invasion of this theoretical film, it would have humanity and Godzilla fighting Gigan on the surface while Megalon is fighting Kong in the Hollow Earth.
Ooh.
So you would have a battle on two fronts.
That would be cool.
So it would be. I mean, just imagine it yourself. The UFOs and surrounding Gigan fighting Godzilla in the military while whatever's left of Monarch in the Hollow Earth is fighting against Megalon, while Megalon is holding his own against not just Kong, but a lot of the other monsters in the Hollow Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Megalon is also one of those ones that looks stupid, but I think, and to an extent, he is kind of stupid, but I think given time, you could give him more of a proper bruiser trait.
Yeah.
Because, like, come on, he's a beetle with drill arms
that spits bombs.
That spits napalm and a beam out of his horn.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been a good alien invasion film for this series. Let's see. I have something here. This one is kind of a pipe dream, and you mentioned it before. But I would really want to see Space Godzilla make a return, like say after the alien invasion that I mentioned.
Yeah.
The aliens mess around with Godzilla's DNA and create a more powerful version that they could not control, and it ends up decimating them.
Uh-oh.
Problem is they made him too well, and Space Godzilla destroys them all and heads to Earth to conquer it for his own. And as I mentioned before, to date, Space Godzilla is the one enemy Godzilla has never beaten by himself.
Yeah.
I know these characters are also a pipe dream, but one is more likely than the other. I want to see King Caesar, and I want to see Jet Jaguar.
Yeah, I mean, I did mention if Jet Jaguar was in it, if he'll be a Jaeger, but Pacific Rim is pretty much a dead franchise.
Yeah. Jet Jaguar is kind of hokey in and of himself, but there's just some sort of charm to his character, even though he appeared in only one film.
And if he was in it, will we see him team up with Godzilla and Godzilla do the drop kick?
No, I don't want the drop kick. I don't want the drop kick. It was fun in the Showa era, but this is not. But we're not in the Showa era anymore. Right.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a sliding tail one. It could be like an actual legit drop kick.
I don't know. I think Gorosaurus has that nailed down.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Gorosaurus wasn't in Skull Island because he was in the Toho Con movies.
True enough. I guess they didn't want to have a repeat of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And then, of course, to end it off, like we mentioned,
Destroy All Monsters with Destroya.
A Destroy All Monsters film with Destroya. Yeah. Wait a second. Where did I put the... Okay. Where the Titan Destroya makes its debut and begins killing everything indiscriminately. It would, of course, culminate in one final battle at the bottom of Mount Fuji, with Godzilla, as well as many of the other well-known Toho monsters being the ones to bring down the walking doomsday weapon.
Nice.
Of course, you have to build up Destroya as a legitimate threat. So I think a lot of those unique Titans that we saw throughout the series, like Behemoth, Methuselah, and Scylla, they would have to sadly be used as cannon fodder to show
how powerful Destroya is.
How powerful Destroya is. Yeah. Not sure how that would end, but it is something to think about.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
Oh, how would King Caesar fit in? Because I think he could fit in pretty well.
Ooh, I mean, he could be portrayed like how he was in the Showa era as like this ancient lion god.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that too. That could work. I have this image in my head of him at first fighting on all fours, and then when the chips are down, his body like morphs into like a more bipedal form, cool. And he gets even more crazy.
Yeah. With the MonsterVerse, I mean, seeing as how Godzilla is owned by Toho, which is the Japanese studio that made these movies in the first place, Toho actually wants to do their cinematic universe.
Based on what we know of Toho and based on what we have seen from Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers, how would you feel about a Toho cinematic universe for these monsters?
I I mean, it would be interesting to see them continue the franchise, like probably after the MonsterVerse ends. But Toho is technically still working on Godzilla because there is a new movie coming out. I don't know if it's this year or next year, and we know very little about it, but some people say it's a sequel to Shin Godzilla.
I don't think so. I think Shin Godzilla is one and done.
Yeah.
Shin Ultraman came out last year, and I feel there's a pattern between Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi, where they are making these Shin movies.
Yeah, they want to do a crossover or something like that.
I don't know. They did Shin Godzilla, they did Shin Ultraman, and they're working on Shin Kamen Rider right now.
Yeah, and like a live action Evangelion movie or something.
Oh Lord, I don't know how I would feel about a live action Evangelion, because no matter how much you cross it, the story of Evangelion is in its nature a tragedy.
Yeah, even though I haven't watched that show. Well, Toho did make some short films.
Yes, they did, but I don't. What did you think of the short films that were released last year? They both involved Gigan.
Oh, there was the CGI one, and then there was the Suitmation.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there was also Suitmation where Godzilla fights Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, seeing those suits in action again was like just pure joy.
I feel like they were using the stunt suit for Final Wars because I noticed that his mouth doesn't close all the way. And I don't know. There's something about the suits. There's something about the suits from that short that didn't feel right to me.
But the Gigan fight.
But Gigan's suit was good.
Yeah.
But there were some shots where I thought to myself, okay, this is pretty questionable.
Yeah, but the Gigan fight, the Suitmation one, it got pretty bloody.
Yeah.
Ooh. But with the CGI short film, Gigan Retz, I used to think that Gigan shot his optic blast from the middle eye. No, he's got a third eye on his forehead that shoots the beam, which is weird.
No, there's just some little dot. He only has one eye.
Oh, yeah, that is weird. I always thought he was like Cyclops from X-Men. Let's see.
Kind of is, but...
Yeah, as you mentioned, Legendary and WB, I don't think the rights are with WB anymore. They're getting sold to Sony.
And they may get sold to Sony.
Yeah. And there is that Apple TV show coming out. It's called Godzilla and the Titans. But I don't know if Godzilla's going to play a big part of it. Like, I don't even know like when it's going to be set.
How the heck are you going to sell this show? Because people are going to go in hoping to see monsters.
Yeah.
Because if you put too much human drama into it, then it ceases to be Godzilla. And I just don't want it to end up to becoming a WBCW teeny bopper drama that is the fate of so many shows.
Yeah. Oh, get this. The theories that you came up with, like with the aliens experimenting on Godzilla's DNA to create Space Godzilla.
Yeah.
I kind of have my own idea, but I don't know if you'll like it because I said, what if Space Godzilla is a prime species that spawns Earth-based Godzilla, and that Earth-based Godzilla is actually a subspecies of Space Godzilla?
I think that would demean Godzilla's role as an alpha predator in this universe.
Yeah, you're right. And, I mean, I know we do have that anime called Singular Point, but it's copying too much of Shin Godzilla with Godzilla evolving, but without the body horror.
Yeah. I have not seen Singular Point.
Neither have I.
Part of me doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Especially what they did with my boy Jet Jaguar. My God.
Yeah, they turned him into a jukebox. He's Soundwave.
They turned him into one of those robot giants from Castle in the Sky.
Not only that, but I mean, this is still another kaiju, but he's not Toho related. Gamera's getting an anime, but it's made by the same guy that did the anime trilogy Godzilla movies. From
what little we've seen from those very, very tiny trailers, Gamera looks pretty good.
Yeah.
and it's going to be like an OVA with like 6 episodes, 5 battles.
Let's just hope it doesn't suck.
Yes.
Let's see. I just wish that with the future, if Toho wasn't so petty, if we got like a good Godzilla game, whether it be a Lego game, a fighting game, or a AAA game.
Well, remember the last time Toho got involved in making a Godzilla game, they were very specific about what they wanted. They got what they wanted, and they had no regrets with what they did. And we got Godzilla, PlayStation 4.
Yep. Well, thank God for the Giga Bash DLC.
Yeah, Godzilla, Kiryu, Gigan, and Destroyer.
Yep. I wish there was more DLC. Like, you got to put in the other kaiju like Rodan, Mothra, Ghidorah.
You don't want. I don't know. I think you want to keep a good balance. You can't have memorable kaiju.
Yeah.
But you also have to, for games like that, you also have to get creative with your own.
Yeah.
I feel. Or you could just try and like, I don't know, go for some of the more obscure kaiju.
Like Anguirus?
I was gonna say Young Gary.
But
that's Korean.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of Pulgasari.
Young Gary, Pulgasari. Well, I don't know about Pulgasari. That one's a whole other bag of worms.
Yeah. Well, we do know that there's going to be a Mothra movie coming out, and out of all the kaiju she's going to fight Bagan. For those of you who don't know who Bagan is, he was a kaiju that never saw the light of day, but he did make an unofficial appearance in the SNES game called Super Godzilla. And he was created from the DNA of Godzilla and King Ghidorah, but they try to do like many like different backstories to him, like making him like this ancient god kaiju or like this chimera kaiju or whatever.
It'll be interesting to see a good Mothra movie again.
Yeah.
It actually makes me want to find the 90s trilogy.
Yeah, I wish I could see that. I want to see that.
I think I mentioned this before, but like when we watched the Gamera trilogy, they had plans for the trilogy to have Gamera fight in the air, on land, and in the sea.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, when Rebirth of Mothra 2 came out,
yeah, she did all three.
She did all three. And they looked at the underwater fight scenes, and they're like, yeah, we can never top this.
Wow.
So we ended up with Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris. But Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris is still a very solid kaiju movie. I'd say one of the best in the genre.
Uh-huh. Let's see. So, you think Bagan could be in the MonsterVerse or no?
I do not know, honestly.
Yeah.
Because again, you'd still have to deal with Toho.
Yep.
And we keep bringing this up. Much like Disney, Toho is very, very protective of their IPs.
But they're worse, much worse. Yep.
You think it was bad enough for Disney to sue a school just for having Mickey Mouse there? Yeah. Imagine that with Toho and Godzilla times.
Yeah. They'll probably execute your ass.
What's scarier than a 100-meter tall monster?
The Yakuza.
It's lawyers. It's lawyers.
I was going to say the Yakuza, like if Toho hired the Yakuza to go after you, they probably would. Let's see. What if like in the final movie, Hollow Earth got renamed into Monster Island?
I'd say, I don't know. I'd rather Skull Island be renamed Monster Island after the storm. After they find some way to do away with that storm that's plaguing it.
I could see that. Let's see.
Because Hollow Earth is its own domain.
Yeah, and you know what? I belong to a group on Facebook that talks about Godzilla and Toho and whatnot. But I thought this was for.
You still have a Facebook?
Yeah. I
In
thought
this day and age,
I thought this was for real, but it wasn't. Like it was a picture like on Steam saying coming soon, Destroy All Monsters Remastered, the trilogy, but it was fake. I wish that happened. We need that. Or
I don't know. I don't know. I think if they were to do the old Pipeworks Godzilla fighting games, I feel not only would they have to remodel everything, they would have to change the entire way you play Unleashed.
Yep.
Because Unleashed is abhorrent in its gameplay.
Yeah.
It may have the biggest roster, and that's its only selling point. It only has the biggest roster.
Yeah, and they got rid of the rage attacks.
I loved the rage attacks so much.
No.
I love the rage attacks so much. Even if some of them were stupid, like Rodan and Ghidorah just flying up in the air and just shooting out their beams like in a circle.
Yeah. So we mentioned other kaijus, like we mentioned Gigan.
Although in those games, why did Gigan teleport?
I don't know.
He could never teleport in the movies.
Yeah, that's weird. Did he learn instant transmission from Goku? Or what if it was the aliens who created him, like, teleported him?
I guess so.
Yeah, so we mentioned other kaiju like Gigan, Destroyer, Anguirus. We mentioned Adora. We mentioned Keen Caesar and Jet Jagger. But we never mentioned, like, Orga, Baragon, Varan, or Manda.
Well, I could see Manda and Leviathan having a little duke out.
Yeah. What's Orga gonna do? Eat him?
I don't know about Orga. I don't think Orga is coming back.
Yeah, he's a one and done.
Yeah,
not that many people liked him.
You have to admit though, Orga was an interesting concept. He was an energy-based alien life form that basically studied and tracked down the genetic traits of a dominant life form of the planet, and it chose Godzilla to try and give itself form. And even when it was not yet when he was not yet complete, he still looked pretty menacing.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the Neoverse? Godzilla Neoverse.
You mean this universe that somebody's crafting and making art for?
Yeah, on DeviantArt, yeah.
Yeah.
So you are familiar with that. Yeah. It would be cool if, like, what if the MonsterVerse took concepts of that?
I don't know. I do like the idea of Baragon's little ear flaps coming down in front of his eyes. Coming down in front of his eyes because he's a subterranean creature.
Oh, so he can block the dirt.
So he could block the dirt.
That's cool. Because I do like the concept of Gigamoth, who was a kaiju that also never saw the light of day from Toho. But basically, Gigamoth is like two characters in one. It's Mothra and Batra together, but they split into two different beings. Mothra being good, Batra being evil. You know, kind of like Piccolo and Kami from DBZ when they were one being.
I do not watch Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I know, but
all right.
I'm sure most of the general audience that's listening probably does.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Also, do you think Godzilla and Kong will have sons?
Sons. That could have been a good Kong movie in itself, Son of Kong.
Yeah. Like, what if Kong finds out that he actually has a family, like that scene from the second Ice Age movie where we find out that he's not the last of his species, like they just migrated or they were just like never seen.
I was thinking more along the lines of he finds
a mate.
No, God no. He finds an orphan.
Okay, that could work. But we all know that Godzilla is technically asexual.
No, he's not.
Oh.
No, he's not.
Not in the MonsterVerse, but in the Toho movies.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's not?
No. In the Toho movies, he found an egg, too.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the Showa era, too?
Yeah. Son of Godzilla.
Oh, so...
he just found an egg.
Oh, okay.
He just happened to have gotten there right when the Kamecuras were about to eat it.
But I did like I know this kind of sounds weird, but I do like how they did this in the Heisei era where like he goes near a Rodan nest, but the egg wasn't fully developed, and like the radiation shed off of his body, which like mutated the egg into a baby Godzilla.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's kind of weird, but still. So would Minya be considered a subspecies then?
I don't know.
Yeah, they just probably did that just because.
I think the Heisei era handled the son of Godzilla
Yes.
very absolutely better.
Yeah, because nobody likes Minya.
Nobody likes Minilla.
Yeah, we already said that in the King Kong, the Skull Island podcast.
It's sad but true.
Yeah. Speaking of, isn't there like I think I heard rumor about Skull Island being like a TV show.
How do you do a TV show with Skull
I
Island
don't know, but
in its current state?
Yeah, or I think I heard Disney might work on a King Kong series, but we already know what their track record of like live action Disney remakes and how the MCU is going.
Or their movies in general.
Yeah.
At this current time, Disney is not really doing good in filmmaking right now.
As for
I mean, it really says something when their last animated feature film, Strange World,
bombed.
I told you this story before. I went to my local movie theater because I was going to see a Fathom event of the 40th anniversary of the Dark Crystal.
And you saw that instead.
I saw the Dark Crystal instead, and I was surprised to see how many people came to see that movie. It was way more than any showing for Strange World.
Wow.
And this is for the 40th anniversary of another box office bomb. Wow. Think about that. Think about that.
Oh man. Yeah. So with what else was I gonna say about Godzilla? I already mentioned about the suns, right?
Yeah.
Did you have anything else on here?
No. I do have this one image though. I imagine this would be like an after credits type of thing for this theoretical Son of Kong. I imagine Kong is doing his rounds on Hollow Earth with the kid on his back, and then off to the distance you see Godzilla like emerging into the Hollow Earth to get to where he needs to go, because the monsters use the Hollow Earth as shortcuts,
like a tunnel.
as like a tunnel system to get from one area of the Earth to the other. And for a while they just like have this little stare down. They have the Kong scowls, Godzilla scowls. The kid on Kong's back doesn't know what's going on, and then off from Godzilla's leg you see this little baby Godzilla.
Nice.
And it either just like ends with the shot of them like continuing their little stare down, and it cuts to black, or they continue their stare down and just go their separate ways.
That'll be funny.
I don't think it would be funny. I think it would be more along the lines of, cute. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
But we don't go to these movies for sweetness. We go for like the monster action.
Because would you make Kong's son an albino?
Because that is what they did with the original Son of Kong,
yeah.
didn't they? Maybe not full albino, because albinism is not a healthy trait in the wildlife. I mean, come on. We both know that Snowflake would not be able to have survived out in the wild with his condition.
What about this is kind of wishful thinking, but I don't think this is gonna happen. If they introduced Mechanicon.
I think Mechanicon was the one that ushered in the whole kaiju mecha thing.
Yeah.
But
I think he did predate Mechagodzilla.
I don't think Mechanicon is in the picture.
Yeah, because Mechagodzilla is more popular.
Yep. And Mecha King Ghidorah is definitely a no-go.
Yeah. So you think we're done with this podcast?
Are we?
I mean, we pretty much talked about like everything that was on the docket.
What about me? Was there anything else you wanted to say, or
About the podcast?
either the podcast or the future of the series or whatnot, what you want to see, or
Well, I mean, I know I keep saying that I would love like another game, like whether it be a fighting game or like a AAA game or a Lego game, because I keep saying if there's ever, since we got Lego Jurassic World, we could get Lego Godzilla.
not if Toho has anything to say about it.
Yeah, but if we did get a Lego game, would it be based off of the Toho verse, the Monster verse, or like what if it is the Monster verse, but they have special guest Toho characters?
I think Warner Brothers has a handle on. Oh wait, you said they got.
Yeah, I think that they
Jurassic
sold the
World.
rights. Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about like them selling the rights from Legendary to Sony.
I was talking about Lego.
Oh,
Lego is a whole other different kind of complicated issue because they have licenses for Marvel, Harry Potter,
Star Wars.
Star Wars, and
yeah.
a bunch of other stuff, and it's just adding. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't think Godzilla would sell as Lego.
Well, anyways, I was gonna say that with a game, like a AAA game, what if like since I said that it got moved to Sony, the rights, what if we got like its own like game universe, like the Spidey games for PlayStation? But like we already got a PlayStation game back then and it didn't do well, but I just want a game done right, and I just hope that for these movies they don't go downhill.
Yeah, that's the biggest threat. That's the biggest threat about these films. But like I don't know me. But like I am unsure about the way the films are handled. Will be handled in the future.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I know.
because a lot of the stuff coming out of Hollywood for me feels a little doom and gloom, especially
Yeah.
their ridiculous requirements for production, casting, and just all these little checkbox that you have just to make a film, and then have those all those checkboxes in order to have it qualify for an award.
Yeah. Well, with human characters, who would you get for who would you want to be in one of the monster movies, human cast wise? Like what actor or whatever?
Unknowns.
Yeah. I mean, we did get big
I'm
names
sure-
in Skull Island, and they were a good cast, but yeah.
I'm sure Millie Bobby Brown's presence because of the Stranger Things crowd may have pulled in the general audience, but I'm sorry, they didn't do her character justice in
GVK.
in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
It just didn't. Like I said, she just came off as like a rude Mary Sue-ish type of woman.
Well, she was better than Brie Larson.
Yeah, but that's not saying much.
Yeah. Let's see. So,
What are you hoping to see from the Gamera thing?
ooh, I mean, although I'm not really a big Gamera fan, I hope that they could continue like where the Millennium movie left off with the Gauss invasion. I think they were going to do a sequel to that, but it got scrapped. There's even a trailer for it. I don't know if it was fan made or if it was legit or what.
I don't know, but like,
But yeah, there's no way we're going to get Godzilla versus Gamera.
I would like to see Gamera
Despite
fight.
the death battle.
I would like to see Gamera face newer monsters.
Yeah.
Either newer monsters or take some of the old monsters and readapt them.
Yeah, he fights the Gyaos way too much.
Yeah. Because, like, you had Barugan, you had Virus, Girion, Jiger, Zegra, Zetus, And that's it.
And then we had Iris and Legion.
Yeah, we talked about it before in another podcast, but Iris and Legion's designs were pretty phenomenal, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, Iris looked kind of like squiddly, but Legion, according to Anthony, looked like a mix of a horseshoe crab and a Hercules beetle.
Yep.
Which is a pretty apt description. And all of the Legion soldiers looked more like Legend of Zelda enemies.
Or buzz droids from Revenge of the Sith.
Eek.
Yeah. And the weak point was the center eye.
Yep.
Like a buzz droid.
How would you incorporate Anguirus? Because we love Anguirus.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to be like either on Skull Island or Hollow Earth.
Yeah. There is another bit of criticism I have about Ghidorah and Rodan.
And that was?
Their roars.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear part of me wanted to hear the iconic roars readapted, kind of like what they did with Godzilla.
Yeah.
They did a decent job with Mothra's cries, but I wanted to hear their version of Rodan's roar. I wanted to hear their version of Ghidorah's roar. When I see them, I'm like, yeah, they look cool, but they don't sound like the iconic monsters.
Yeah. I mean, the alpha cry that Ghidorah did, like by the volcano, it kind of sounded a little bit like the classic Bell roar.
I mean, a skilled enough editor could probably go back and take the roars from GMK and reinsert it into Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Like that's a perfect example of taking an iconic roar and fiddling around with it to make something new but recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've seen GMK, you know what Ghidorah sounds like in that. It sounds like a more modernized version of the Showa roar.
Yeah.
As for Rodan, it doesn't sound like the guttural screech that you're used to hearing from all the previous iterations.
Mm-hmm.
A roar, much like music, could make the theme, and I wish we had Rodan and Ghidorah's themes as well.
Yeah.
But I imagine licenses to the music in Toho's Wheelhouse is still a big issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we ever did get a AAA Godzilla game, who do you think the studio should make it? Rocksteady?
I don't know about Rocksteady.
Oh, yeah, because, like...
Just for the memes, Platinum.
What about, like, a fighting game? Like NetherRealm Studios or Capcom or...
NetherRealm Studios is busy making Mortal Kombat stuff. And if not Mortal Kombat, then Injustice. And I am tired of Injustice. I want Superman to be Superman again. I hate evil Superman so much.
I mean, the games are good, though. The Injustice games. Like, I like the fighting mechanics. I like playing as all these great characters, but I know I want a good solo Superman game, too. Just as much as I want a good solo Godzilla game.
The problem is that Warner Brothers has no idea what to do with any of the DC characters. They don't know what to do with Superman. I'll even go so far as to say they don't even know what to do with Batman.
Yeah, because that's kind of like a whole nother can of worms for later, the whole like James Gunn DC universe.
Well, no, I'm saying that they have had no idea what to do with these characters at all since their acquisition in the 60s. Ooh. Any success attributed to Warner Brothers DC movies has only been because they had somebody outside of their studio help make it.
Let's see. I mean, I know that there's like that Godzilla Power Rangers comic crossover.
What did you think about that one?
It was all right.
That's pretty much my idea too. It's all right, but in all honesty, I've read fan fiction better.
But if there were more crossover comics, what franchise would you think he'd be good to crossover with? Transformers?
I don't know about Transformers. Transformers, I don't think Transformers would be a good one.
G.I. Joe?
G.I. Joe is a hard maybe.
Yeah.
But then again, G.I. Joe has its own issues with the way today's entertainment culture is that I mentioned earlier.
How about not TMNT?
I would like to see a crossover of TMNT and Superman, though.
Really?
Have them fight the Krang.
Oh, okay.
Because that's something you never see the Turtles do with Batman.
Yeah, that's true.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Superman versus the Krang.
I mean, I know technically Godzilla was owned by Marvel and he did fight the Avengers.
He fought the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, and he kicked all of their butts.
Yeah, they said that his strength was on par with Thor's. Like, they were even. Like, they were pushing a building, and, like, the building wouldn't collapse because of them. Even though this Godzilla was weaker than the movie version.
Even though when you really think about it, if you really think about it, that's impossible because of how buildings are made in real life. But still, it's one of those things that make you think, oh, shoot, that would have been so cool to see.
Oh, I want to see a crossover between Godzilla and Doom.
Doom?
Yeah.
They already did that. It's called Godzilla in Hell.
Okay. you got a point there. Or, let's see. I would say Godzilla in Mortal Kombat, but I don't know.
I don't know, but I want to say Godzilla and God of War.
Yes, I was going to go to that.
But I don't know. The World Serpent is way bigger than Godzilla. So...
Yeah, because it's called the World Serpent.
So I don't know how you would be able to handle with God of War.
True.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of Godzilla fans does not want to see Kratos kill Godzilla.
Yeah. I want him to use Godzilla as a steed in battle.
I don't even want Godzilla to be used as a steed.
You don't want to ride the giant Yoshi?
No.
Oh, man. Let's see, what other crossover would work with Godzilla?
The closest we'll ever get to Godzilla versus Ultraman is in one Ultraman episode. Because Tsuburaya Productions, because Eiji Tsuburaya had very good connections with Toho Studios. They ended up lending old Godzilla suits and monster suits. Like, I can't imagine how many times they've had to remodel Baragon's suit for a lot of their monsters. But there was one where it was just Godzilla with a frill.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my God. That's too desperate for them, isn't it?
I don't know.
Let's see. I mean, are we pretty much done?
I feel like we're pretty much done.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope that with the Monsterverse, like you said, that these movies don't go downhill, because kaiju fans, they're like a special breed.
Yeah. I remember, I've told you about this guy I frequent watching, Professor Geek, right?
Yeah.
When he was giving his analysis of Godzilla versus Kong,
mm-hmm.
he said that basically Godzilla fans were even worse than anime fans, in his opinion, because when he kept getting comments and all that stuff about his opinions about Godzilla and Kong, and
mm-hmm.
he said that they were like the Jehovah's Witness of fandom. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Godzilla?
I've seen that meme where it's an alligator scratching out of the door. So, excuse me, I would like to talk to you about a word from our Savior Godzilla.
And I'm going to be honest, he's not entirely wrong about that, because there's always insufferable fans in every fandom.
Yeah, because there's just some people that won't let go of the hate of the 98 film.
Either the hate of the 98 film, and there are people who have strong preferences to certain time periods, or and then of course there's the degenerates community who will pervert everything they see.
Let's not go there.
Yeah. But
yeah, with Godzilla, I mean, the worst movie for me for Godzilla, I hate to say this, I only saw the English dub of it. It was probably Godzilla Reigns Again. I mean, yeah, I know it had Anguirus in it, but like the tone was like so much different than that of the first film.
Yeah, I've seen the Japanese version of that one first. I have not seen the English one. The tone wasn't that much. The tone was, I think, may not have been that much different.
Yeah, what was I saw a meme. I don't know what meme it was. I don't think it was the Woe Jack or the Soy Jack or whatever he's called. Where like it shows like the cover of Gojira, and he's like, "Oh, come on, it's just a guy in a rubber suit. How bad it could be." And then it shows like the clip of the lady holding her children saying, "We'll be with your father soon," and then like his body was just like an empty husk. Yeah. That movie's deep.
That movie is dark as heck.
Yeah, but with no body horror. It doesn't need body horror like Shin Godzilla.
No.
I mean, yeah, Shin Godzilla was pretty dark and nightmare fuel, but 54 is still like the darkest in my opinion.
I'd go so far as to say that the 54 one is rather timeless.
Yes.
Even though it's set in a specific time period.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get too political. Look at where we are right now.
Yeah.
Let's not go further into that, but just take that for what you will, and think about the subject matter in the original Godzilla film.
Mm-hmm. People can learn from that movie. They can learn a lot from the past.
So, what would be coming up? So, what would be coming up for the channel?
Well, for the channel, I know that definitely for sure, we are definitely going to review the Mario movie.
Definitely.
Yeah. Whether it's good or bad, it's worthy of a review.
Mm-hmm. Especially because of the first impressions, just from the trailers alone.
Yeah, because
when we heard that Illumination was at the helm of this movie, we immediately started to worry.
Yeah, same with the cast.
Because the first thing that came to our minds was Despicable Me, the Minions, Sing,
The Grinch,
that Pet Story thing.
Oh, Secret Life of Pets.
Secret Life of Pets. I'm like, and each one of and Illumination is one of those studios that plays it safe, but it plays it too safe.
Yeah.
The only real risk they took was the first Despicable Me film, and as good as it was, it just felt like they were just playing it safe from the rest of the films they made.
Yeah. With the Mario movie, like, yeah, they have Nintendo Directs, like they had one for the cast, and I'm like, when I heard about the cast, I'm like, okay, I don't think this movie is gonna be any good, cause like it just seems so mismatched. But when you see that first trailer and hear Jack Black as Bowser, it blew me away.
Yeah. And for people who always take issue with Chris Pratt as Mario, I'd like to say that we have already seen Chris Pratt play another animated character who was an everyman, and Mario is an everyman.
Yeah, he was Emmett from the Lego Movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think if he could play Emmett, he could probably do Mario justice.
Yeah, but he's not going to do Garfield justice, though.
No, I don't think. No, I think the only person who could do Garfield justice was Lorenzo Music, and he's dead. No offense to you, Bill Murray. You did good with what you had, but...
I mean, I know that in the new Garfield cartoons, they got Frank Welker.
Frank Welker did a decent Garfield.
Yeah.
He tried channeling Lorenzo Music, but like... it's just that when it comes to voice acting, it feels like, we've been growing up with these iconic voices for so long, and we are going to have to get used to the fact that Peter Cullen is not going to be Optimus Prime forever.
Yep, that's going to be a sad day, especially going back to that scene from Transformers the movie.
There will be a lot of Till All Are One fan art when he goes away.
Yep. When he goes away, I'm definitely going to talk about how much of an impact he had like in the 80s.
So that's a possible So that's a possible future podcast idea?
No. I'm talking about like as a Facebook status.
Ah.
Yeah, because like he was basically like Superman in a way. Because like he was like an iconic 80s cartoon character in that time frame.
He was an aspirational hero.
Yes. He's pretty much like the Superman version of robots. But yeah. Oh boy. I mean,
heck, we've already lost
Stan Lee.
No, not Stan Lee. We've already lost Kevin Conroy.
Oh yeah.
But like,
yep. Yeah. I wonder what it's going to be like when Mark Hamill goes away.
I have this image in my head of somebody making this fan art dedicated to Mark Hamill, where it shows the light side of like Luke Skywalker and all the other heroes he had
portrayed.
And
then the dark side,
and the
Joker.
dark side, of like them in heaven, and the dark side hell with Joker and Firelord Ozai and all those other evil characters he has also portrayed in his
Joker would think hell's a paradise. He's been to hell in the comics, and he got superpowers there. Isn't that true?
I don't know. I try. When it comes to comics, I'm trying my best to look at things from before 2011.
Yeah, I remember in Injustice, Wonder Woman tells Joker, go to hell, and then Joker says that it's overrated.
Eh.
But yeah, Joker would have the time of his life in hell. But you think Mark Hamill would like be remembered more as Luke Skywalker or the Joker? Probably Luke Skywalker, because the general audience doesn't really know him as the Joker that well.
Yeah,
probably. Or at all.
Yeah, I think he would be properly immortalized as Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went from kaiju to voice actors.
Yep. Yeah, we're pretty much done with this podcast. I mean, I don't know if we have to like have Renee come in or what.
This is actually a first for us because we don't want to like
keep going on and on.
We don't want to have to keep going on, and we don't want to have to call Renee in because I just talked about it, and I don't know if we're going to keep this now. We're probably going to, just for giggles.
Yeah, pretty much. But my other
until he gets in, what other
episode ideas?
Episode ideas would you
definitely
consider?
Definitely the Mario movie.
Okay.
I kind of wanted to talk about like the whole James Gunn DC universe, like the DC debacle.
That would probably be best if it was you and Brian.
Yeah. Not you, because you're a DC fan.
I'm still a relatively new DC fan, and it's only because of the DC animated universe.
Ah, okay. Yeah. What else? Definitely Spider-Man 2 for the PS5. Definitely the Wolverine game when that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you guys aren't really interested in the MCU anymore, but I know that I had an idea for like the Fantastic Four movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I even had an idea for a title card and like the thumbnail and everything. Call it The Grim Adventures of Marvel's First Family. Get it? Because of Ben Grimm and Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Like they would be drawn in the style of Billy and Mandy.
Aye.
It'd be funny. And I'm pretty sure that Secret Wars would do well. So if you guys were interested in seeing it, I would do a podcast on that. Like if you hear good things about it. But MCU is kind of going downhill. I mean, the only good movie for me in Phase 4 was No Way Home. And
we could talk about Pokemon.
No! I haven't that shit.
What was that?
I said I ain't having that shit.
Aye.
But with the MCU, I feel like with these movies,
watch as the comment sections demand Pokemon.
No. I was gonna say that with the MCU, like they're going downhill, but oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say about the MCU.
I'll just put a period at the end of that statement, and I know this is your show, but I know this is your show, and I'm trying my best to come up with other ideas for you to talk about. But like,
Yeah, because with
because let's not mince words. These episodes have been pretty sporadic.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could probably like once this is over, you could probably like edit it to make it shorter so it's not so long.
How so?
I don't know.
Well, I'll probably edit that out.
Yeah, but I do know that for the MCU, like I said, Secret Wars, if you guys were still interested in it, that would be a good topic to talk about. But I feel like, where are they going to go from there? After they do the whole multiverse thing, since Fantastic Four wants to do Galactus already.
I think they are completely stuck on the multiverse.
Yeah. After that, what's that? I mean, like, yeah, they're going to do X-Men, but when?
So, any games that you're looking forward to?
Besides those two that I just mentioned?
Yeah.
Not that I know of. I mean, yeah, I know I'm looking forward to the next Zelda game, but I still have to play Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild is going to take so much of your time, man.
I'm sure it will.
Get it? You'll want to pull up a guide online.
Definitely.
For all the hidden goodies and stuff like that.
Well, with Zelda games, I don't really play it 100% completion. I just try to play the main story. But even that takes time.
Yep.
Let's see. But yeah, I know Fantastic Four is definitely a movie I want to review, even if it's not going to be good, which I heard that from rumors. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Because they're Marvel's first family. They need to be talked about. It was Stan Lee's passion project back then.
Yeah. As far as games I'm looking forward to, the physical edition of Metroid Prime still hasn't come out yet.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. The digital is still available on the Nintendo eShop, but
Yeah, most of the games I have, if not all the games I have on Switch and PS4 are digital.
Yeah.
But when I'm done with it, like, I just, like, get rid of the app and delete the saved memory so I can make up room for more games. But if there's games that I like, I keep them and think about, like, switching them over to a PS5 if I were to get one.
You know what? I'm calling Renee.
Yeah, we're pretty much done. So stay tuned for another episode on what we might want to talk about next. And, yeah, we're pretty much done. Have a good night, everybody.